Yes, so in Instagram, is basically you put here in the plus and you just say live. Yeah, you do plus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have the optics.
Like,
Oh, okay.
we could do, but that's why audience title. Yeah, again, we could do it, but it is it's a bit. Yeah.
So we don't need this on, right? I can just go on here now. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can.
So I need to come a little closer.
Yes.
And it was this one here.
And maybe we can push the computer a tiny bit. So we.
That way.
Yeah, so we have a bit more. I mean, enough for us to reach it.
There's like a way where you can also show self-view, no? Do you want this on?
What do you mean? The view, we need to
yeah.
see ourselves, yeah, because I was a bit confused.
Hide self-view. We want to show self-view. Advanced. Oh. Okay, I don't know how to do this. I think you need to.
Oh yeah, I think it's there maybe. Show grid. Show with one of those. Maybe try a few.
No.
Yeah, like them exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then we can pin this to the top.
Yeah. All right. So we are.
Are we ready to do?
I received the link. They should also be joining in a second.
But you think also like maybe, I mean, we can do that. And then maybe when everyone, you are talking, you move the camera. I think,
okay.
No?
We'll just move over a little bit so that we're almost centered.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that, like, whenever we want the three of us to be in it.
Yeah.
But then also maybe, like, if I don't know, you are talking, maybe it makes sense that you do that. And then, I don't know, move the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, we can do that.
Okay, I'm going to go live as well. Yeah.
Yes, I was wondering if we should go live to here, but are you connected to that?
So yes, I'm connected now.
Oh, look, invite to join. Actually, I think I could do it. Be there. But I mean, if you want to do it independently, it's good. Actually, I can't invite you. Why, Peter? Why you?
Hi guys, we're just going to give it a couple of minutes for everybody to join.
Yeah.
Hi, Graham.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Are you live?
I am live, yeah. So yes, everyone, we are also live through YouTube, through the Zoom, but we are also exploring to be live through Instagram. But I wanted to invite you. I wanted to, yeah, we're going live through Flux account and through Peter's account. I don't know why I can't find you, because it's a shame because now.
Hi, be earlier.
But that's like that, no? You should. It doesn't tell.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
Should I try?
So yeah, what time is it? It's 7 now actually, but yeah, we'll give a couple of, maybe couple of more minutes just in case to not be super punctual. In the meantime, if everyone could write their name, rename your account, we got Greya, we got Mav, we got Nera, we got an iPhone there that we. Do you mind?
Jonathan, hi Lara, hi Antonia,
Yeah,
Carmen.
yeah, everyone has their name. So only the one that says iPhone, blonde guy. There you go, Michael. Hello. Okay, you couldn't find yourself, Peter.
No, I couldn't find myself. So I've got Instagram
exactly.
live as well. So
we can just explore to do it. We're doing 2 angles now.
Should we make sure so we can see our image as well? So
Yes, I was just checking.
yeah. So yeah, great.
How's everybody doing? We're gonna give it a couple more minutes for everybody to join. We've got, should be a nice little crowd. I think we've got about 20 people signed up, and then usually get some latecomers as well. And then not everybody is always can always make it, but it should be a nice crowd. And yeah.
Dean just sent you a notification.
Oh. Okay. Dean is joining also in a second. Yeah, I think there'll be any minute.
Okay.
Oh, I think there's more and more people joining. Let me just have a quick look. Laura. Yeah, we should probably get started soon, no? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, just serving water for everyone, and then.
Hello, Paul.
Oh, hi. All right, everyone. So I think we can start. Welcome to our Flux social gender. Fuck. we can say that word now. There is no
Censorship.
No censorship. Exactly. We cannot say Facebook and things like that, but now we can say it. So yeah, an event curated by Olive Gingrich and Peter Hamburger. And I couldn't even like try to say your surname. I'm sorry. And yeah, hosted by myself. Exploring media, arts, and gender identities. So this project is part of Arts Council funded project grant. So first of all, to start by thanking the Arts Council for giving us the opportunity to provide an educational program focused on this. This is not the only event we are running. We have also some online workshops. And we will have another Flux social at the end of the year. So as you know, this is a Flux social, meaning that it's all about interaction, and we are going to have the opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves, to share a little bit about what they do, and anything that is related to the theme of this social. So we'll start with just giving, I'll start with introducing a little bit to Art in Flux, and then I'm going to pass it over to Olive and to Peter to introduce the theme of the evening. And then we'll open the floor for everyone to introduce themselves and to start the discussion. But yeah, I want to encourage everyone to be open, to comment, to express. Is really, we are doing these events for everyone to communicate and to engage and to learn from each other. So yeah, also it'd be fantastic whenever we get to the round of introductions, if everyone can have their camera on, as it is lovely to see people's faces. But yeah, let's start with a little introduction. To myself, first of all, for the ones that don't know me, I'm Maria Almena. I'm curator and director at Art in Flux. And I'm also an artist, performance director at the Studio Kimatica. I explore the intersection between interactive technology and live performance and the human body to create transformative experiences. You can see some images of my work there. So Art in Flux was founded in 2016 by the artists Afra Semsa, Olive Gingrich, and myself. It was founded at Light of Soho Gallery, and it's then in the last 3 years, basically, it got we turned the organization into a CIC with the focus of representing and championing media art within the UK, with a specific focus of supporting underrepresented groups, such as LGBTQ+, neurodiverse artists, and diverse heritage backgrounds. So we run different type of events, and our community has grown from 30 artists to 3,000 practitioners, media practitioners, artists, all with the common, thread of being media artists from underrepresented groups. We also work with partners from different kind of institutions and organizations, and we work with international partners such as Ars Electronica, and also with UK institutions such as the National Gallery or the V&A. We have different types of events, and today we are on a Flux social, and I've already shared a little bit about this. It's really all about exchanging ideas, promoting discussions, and facilitating networking opportunities and collaboration, really. So then we have our curated talks, which in the last couple of years, they've been hosted by the National Gallery. We curate talks around different themes that are particularly of interest of the curators and directors of Art in Flux. You can see all of these talks in the National Gallery website and in our website. So please do have a look if you are interested. We also, because we are artists, we do also curate exhibitions, and we usually we curate one exhibition a year, and we was that? Someone is laughing. So basically, we curate a mixture of physical, digital, and hybrid exhibition. Our last exhibition was with the National Gallery. Well, this year actually we had two, because we did one exhibition with the National Gallery and another one with Computers Art Society, Access All Areas, both that they have been hybrid. And then if you want to know more of that, again, you can go to our website and check them out. And now I'm going to pass it over to Olive, the co-curator of this event, who is going to introduce you to this evening.
Thank you so much, Maria. Warm welcome from me. I'm Olive Gingrich.
It looks like a really boring paragraph.
Oh, sorry. Do you mind to mute yourself? There is someone that is not. I'm going to try to do it, actually. Look. There you go. Yeah, thank you. So otherwise we hear some. Okay, I think I did mute everyone. Okay, that's.
So just a bit about myself. So I'm an artist and researcher, work a lot with visual sound. I'm obviously also a curator and co-founder of Art in Flux. And there's a bit of a genesis of this event. Maria mentioned that it's part of an Arts Council funded activity. We received some Arts Council funding, unfortunately not the big Arts Council funding that we actually wanted to get for this event. Really what we had planned was a much larger exhibition spanning several days that we had planned with Dean Atko, who is here tonight, and with Peter Edberger, sitting next to me. And Jennifer originally came out of an event that we did with the National Gallery, and it was quite seminal for us because it was in the middle of lockdown. We had just been confirmed to residency with the National Gallery, and we were a little bit unsure about putting on an event just virtually. So we had never done anything like this before, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking for us at the time. And we were still figuring out kind of the best formula and how to make this work and how to make the most of this. And in retrospectively, I'm quite pleased that we managed to bring these themes to the National Gallery. It was very topical. As you know, there's a huge problem with representation in the larger institutions in the UK. This was the summer of Black Lives Matter as well, where this kind of became questions of representation came really to the forefront. And we managed to put a really nice program together with young emerging artists, with established artists. And the idea was to take this forward. As we turned into a CIC with Art and Flux, we focused more and more on representation. And we thought it would be a fantastic opportunity to do something together. Also with Dean Atke, who's with Ugly Duck really created a home for the queer community in London. And yeah, so there was, and there still is quite a bit of excitement around being able to show various different artistic strategies that explore the theme of gender and identity through various different means. We're saying media, but really it's all sorts of media, from drawing and painting and watercolors. These are your techniques, to mosaic, to work with tech and VR and film. There's a lot of different artists that are part of our community that we'd love to profile, and that's something that we've got planned for the future. Today we've got a bit of a teaser of this in form of a small kind of virtual exhibition that we're going to share with you in a little bit. And I think that's enough for me to introduce the kind of backstory, and then I'll hand over to Peter to introduce himself.
Hi. I'm Peter. So I'm an artist. I also work in ceramics design, and I'm also a yoga teacher. And so my main kind of theme within my kind of art practice is kind of looking into sexual identity, and particularly kind of subcultures within the kind of queer culture. And I started to kind of like look into how to kind of combine my kind of art practice with the kind of embodiment work that I'm doing through kind of teaching yoga and mindfulness. So I started kind of teaching gay or queer naked yoga, and so I'm thinking of ways of kind of opening it up to kind of like a larger kind of more inclusive kind of context. And so having this kind of collaboration that kind of going was a great opportunity to kind of investigate a little bit further into it. So something that I've had in my mind and that I've kind of separated a little bit, had separated like the kind of ceramics practice, the drawing and painting practice, and the kind of yoga practice. And I'm quite excited to kind of like start to kind of merge things a little bit. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be, in workshops within the kind of like art installations, but kind of using the kind of like embodiment practice to kind of really investigate a little bit further than just kind of cognitively, so just like with the brain, but kind of coming into a sense into the body, kind of using the artwork to maybe contemplate in a more kind of meditative way rather than in a cognitive way, so in a thinking part way. So I've been I'm very excited to kind of like be be co-curating the exhibition with Olive, and so that's just a little bit of context about myself.
Wonderful. And I think now it will be fantastic if we can hear from Dean as another collaborator of this project. Hey, Dean.
Hello. How are you? Thank you for having me tonight. And sorry, everyone, for the unfortunate events that made that we had to move. We had to move this event online. I don't know if you touched a bit on this at the beginning of the session, but unfortunately, some structural disaster at Ugly Duck. So for the safety of everyone, it was better to move online, and we're working on this. So, hello, my name is Dean Atje, and I'm an artist, curator, and a producer. And I have been running Ugly Duck and doing the art direction of Ugly Duck, which is a space in South London, in London Bridge, actually. And we've worked with Flux a few years ago for the first really big exhibition. So it's always a pleasure to continue our collaboration. We work with Ugly Duck. We work really to help providing a physical space for underrepresented artists and emerging artists, really focusing on elevating voices that we don't hear much in the art, and try to keep physical spaces. More recently, I've started this project called Disturbance, which at first was just an evening of performance art, which was online as well as in the physical space. The first was actually in October 2020. So this in November, this was our 4th edition, and the event has really grown now in a full development program for artists LGBTQA+. So there's a residency, a development program, and then a show. And on the side, I've started to also do a bit of performance myself, especially under the form of lecture that evolve into performance. Which maybe we'll talk a bit more about this a bit later. I think, Oliver, I have a few pictures as well of the program. So yeah, nice to see you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dean. Yeah, I think now, before we continue, shall we then maybe stop sharing the screen, and we ask everyone if we would like to everyone that is here, if you could switch on your camera. We're gonna do the little round of everyone introducing themselves, if that's okay. So maybe I'll just start with the one that they got the camera on, and then I'll move. So the idea is just to have a brief introduction to what do you do, and maybe why you're here, what's your interest on the theme, but yeah, let's keep it short so everyone can speak. I'm gonna start with Nera, as you were the first one to join. Nera?
Sorry, my connection is not good, so it might drop. Well, can you hear me?
We can, but then maybe then it's better the switch of the video then. Yeah, so like that we can hear you, because I think you're cutting up. You are cutting up, unfortunately.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can. Let's try. But
okay. So I can introduce briefly myself. I started with collaboration with Paul Kingsley. Can you hear me?
No, Nera, I think it's better. You're gonna have to switch off the camera, because we don't hear you 100%.
Okay.
Not quite there, Nera. Sorry. Maybe I'm gonna.
You can move maybe.
Yes, I'm gonna move to someone else, and then I come back to you. But I think it's better if we try again without camera. Can I then hear from Laura? Hi, Laura.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for hosting the event. I was really keen to join because I heard about art in Flux at Extended Senses, and I saw some of your work online as well in the live stream with Studio Chromatica and the performance that you did on the live stream, and was super inspired. And also wanted to tell Dean that I've been to an event at Ugly Duck before a few years ago, and I thought, wow, these people are putting on some really cutting edge stuff. So it all kind of converged into, I wonder what art is. And,
okay, sorry, I'm just trying to mute. Just a second. Who is not muted? Okay, there you go. Paola wasn't muted. Sorry, everyone, please, when you join, make sure you are muted, because otherwise it's creating some strange noise. Sorry, Laura, continue.
Yeah, so it all converged, and then I saw that this was going to be an online event. So I was just curious about the exhibition that you put on. And myself, I'm into this because I'm a flow artist. I do circus performing arts, and I also, like you were saying, it bringing or like Peter was saying about bringing yoga practice and developing that further in terms of a movement practice, I sort of feel the same way about flow arts, that it's a beautiful form of expression. It's got so much to be able to explore in like maybe a digital landscape. So I'm really interested in the intersection of performing arts, flow, and immersive technology, especially things like VR. And I've seen some of your work that you've done with augmented reality as well with Studio Chromatica, and how essentially now we have this amazing opportunity with an embodied medium. So it's time for body and movement performers to have a say in the space and do some experimentation. So yeah, I was really keen to meet you and talk about these topics hopefully.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's lovely to meet you. We were both, Olive and I, we were both part of Extended Senses. Where are you based? Are you calling from London, UK? Or?
I'm in Brighton.
In Brighton.
Down
Okay.
in Brighton, yeah. Okay. And I'm part of a virtual reality collective, which my colleague Mafjay is on the call as well, and she'll tell you about that. But we're a group of women doing experiments with creative tech, and trying to bring all sorts of different disciplines into it. So Olive and I first connected when we were like, wow, flow and flux, and like
and you had an amazing talk at Extended Senses too. Yeah, I'm super excited, and I hope there's like future possibilities for collaboration. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we can move on to Wes.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, Dean. Nice to see you again. We actually met in virtual reality at a group show last year, which was quite funny. My name is Wes Viz, and I'm one of the artists, which you guys had my piece, Anti-Communion at the Barbican a couple weeks ago. And I'm excited I can join tonight because I actually live in Estonia, so I am dialing in from there. So I couldn't go to the show in person.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. So I'm a visual artist. I explore kind of dissociation and identity with as a result of like technology and things like that. So I'm still working on it. I do animation as a day job as well. So I'm very like heavily immersed in animation and all of this new technology coming out, which is really, really fun to explore. Okay, that's me.
We all really enjoyed your video at Barbican, and then sometimes we were all sad because we couldn't do the event in the physical space. But then, for example, for you it has been better because you couldn't have so there is always a bright side to everything, right?
Yeah, I can actually kind of come say hello and see what's going on.
Wonderful. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So we can move to Jonathan.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me along. I've actually met a couple of you a couple of years ago at an event with the London group and the BCS and so on. We were showing some work together, I think. My practice, visual artist, is about the body and particularly the skin. I tend to work across media. I do some oil painting, but I enjoy digitizing people. And I tend to work then with that person to create something which is about them. And I've got a particular kind of obsession, perhaps, with the skin, because the skin is the primary means, perhaps, how we show or try and hide our identity as well. I recently had a solo show where I hung 8 large works which were people's skin unwrapped, and they were printed on silk, so a large wall hangings on silk. I also had 3 videos at that exhibition. I put one of them in for this event, actually, the Needle Cast Rhapsody, which was kind of quite a radical disembodiment, frankly, of one of the people I was working with. It's also playing with a future tech idea that one day we'll be able to upload bodies and transfer them across hyperspace and so on. So the kind of technical side is very interesting to me as well. I've also worked in VR. I did create a VR installation where you put on the headset and then you walk around inside the body using room scale. Is quite a challenge, but actually it's quite uncanny. You really then are exploring and examining issues around what actually is the body. Is it a shell? Is it a container? What is in there? Where are we located? We being the person and the identity and so on. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in hearing what other people are doing and opportunities for collaboration, because I tend to collaborate quite a lot in different ways. So yeah, interesting meeting. Thank you.
Jonathan, we saw your work and really appreciate it. It was absolutely fantastic. Video art that you submitted for the physical event, right? So we were looking forward to showing that in the future as well.
I actually saw your work at the Bricklaying Gallery, and we had a chat as well. And yes, I'm a yeah.
Sorry, I missed that last bit there. Sorry.
I really enjoyed the kind of like body mapping. It felt like body mapping to me, like the skin.
That's right.
Kind of flat out. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of I could very much relate to this kind of embodiment or disembodiment. Within the visual arts. Yeah. So yes, it really resonated with me. Yeah.
It's also interesting the work you're doing, because during the last major lockdown, the COVID winter last year, I did an online kind of development course in Buto, the Japanese dance performance art form, and then created a couple of videos out of that, which is kind of really digging into the inner body and what we're about. So it's kind of using performance and exploring who we really are in quite a kind of intense and very personal way. So that's a conversation I'd quite like to have with you at some point.
Yes, I'd appreciate that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's lovely to have you here. So we are gonna continue with Maf. How do you pronounce I know how to pronounce your Alvarez, your surname. Because I'm Spanish, but like your name.
Hola. Yeah, it's Mafj.
Maf?
Yeah, Mafj. Mafj. My mom was Spanish, is but she made it up. It's an acronym actually. But it is a birth certificate. Yeah. So yeah, I am, like Laura said, I work in virtual reality as well. I'm a visual artist too, and I'm feeling a bit shy today, weirdly. But so bodies and gender and everything is very interesting to me. I created a piece called Ever Quantica, a virtual reality piece, and in there I explored a little bit about the body as well, and about our kind of, again, walking inside each other's skins and playing with scale and power, and those sorts of things. I'm running with Laura Incubate Immersive, which is a collective, and it sounds like we could have a lot. I like just hearing about art in Flux and what you guys do. Sounds really interesting. I think I've been out of touch a little bit with the art scene, and especially this kind of collective and group, but I'd really like to learn more about maybe opportunities to collaborate, work together. I don't know, do something. Here in Brighton, because I'm living in Brighton as well. We're working with Cassia, who mind blank, but she's called Bunty Looping. She's an artist and she runs the Rose Hill, and it's a really popular, like, it's a great little music venue here in Brighton. And we're working as part of Incubate Immersive as well, doing workshops for groups of people, especially women and underrepresented groups. I think that whatever we can uniquely do, because we can represent ourselves in that space, would be good. And avatars are really interesting. When I was developing Ever Quantica, I had to find avatars very quickly, and it was amazing how limited they were. And it took me on a topic of trying to make avatars myself. And afterwards, I experimented with like character creator and things, and realized how really difficult it is to represent other people, and how I'd love to do workshops around avatar generation with groups of people as sort of kind of co-creation into how people want to be represented, how they want to do that themselves. Because I'm a creative technologist as well, so I like messing around with technology. I don't know what else to say, but it's nice to meet you all. And I heard Olive, I heard your talk at the Ever London conference as well. It was nice. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Really interesting work. I look forward also to find out more about it. Let's go with Graham now.
Hello, Graham Ditprose, formerly a commercial photographer in my youth, and I worked at the London College of Communication for 25 years, really doing discovering digital photography and pioneering ways forward with it. For my sins these days, I chair EVA London, which is an organisation which is part of the Computer Arts Society, and which is there really to publish and to network digital researchers all over the world and academics all over the world, and to publish their papers in proceedings and on Science Open and so on. We hang out with the likes of these good people in Flux in numerous ways. In 2019, fortuitously before the pandemic, we discovered that 50 years ago, the Royal College of Art made the first ever exhibition of digital art in any university in the United Kingdom and called it Event One. And therefore, with the Computer Arts Society and with our good friends here in Flux, we kicked down their doors of their galleries in 2019 in the summer and put on Event 2, which was an amazing idea of using all the artists who made the very pioneering stuff and all the folks from Flux who did the cutting edge stuff. Since then, we had a slight hiatus during the pandemic, but then we managed to put together Access All Areas, which was kicking down the doors of the British Computer Society and blowing their minds away with another contemporary art exhibition by Flux. No doubt we will find other ways of blowing people's minds in future. What we are really into is working with emerging artists. We've actually just put 2 artists under 25 onto our organising committee in the last two weeks, which is what we wanted to do. We are very interested in running our research workshops, which I'm in charge of, which is an opportunity for somebody to have work in progress rather than the finished piece of research, and to also network people with established academics around the world and so on. If any of this sounds any good to any of you, get in touch with it, Olive or Maria or Afra. They have my email, and you can just drop me a line and say, "Hey Graham, I heard you on this gig," and get in touch with me anyway. Very interested to talk to people, new ideas. Got some very exciting ideas for July 23, which I can't tell you about yet, but Olive will find out on December the 1st, since he is now a committee member, and more to come. But yeah, that's what I do. I just hang out with very clever people.
Thank you so much, Graham, and yeah, really the support of and the collaboration with the Computer Society and EVA conference. It has been really allow our team Flux to expand the remit of what we do and to support artists in other ways. So yeah, we are also excited to see what comes next. So we got Michael then next.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a Glasgow-based working class creative. I came across Genderfu on Instagram, and that's where I heard about this event. In terms of me, I'm sort of like very much at the beginning of my creative journey, and sort of working out, just exploring different ideas basically. And I wanted to find out a little bit more about media arts in particular. And gender as a concept is quite interesting to me as well, particularly from a working class perspective. I just think, yeah, it's something I'd quite like to explore and learn a bit about. So yeah, that's me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michael. It is great also to have someone from Glasgow, from that again, that you could not have joined if we would have done physical. So welcome to the group. And then we got Paola and Alien, which I love just the name, and Nira, and we got Nera, Paola, Alien. None of you have the camera. Oh yeah, Paola, there you go. Yes. Hey, Paola.
Hi. Sorry, these things when you get bad internet connection when you really need it. So I'm in a prep.
Ouch.
Nice to meet everyone. I lost part of the conversation, but I'm here and I've been really following what you've been doing as a platform. I'm really moved by the way that you are, crossing these bridges between like performance and thinking about the body and how this is, how this is being approached through like technology and the digital space. I saw your own last, I don't know if the last one, but a recent live stream that you did, which was like very interesting. So I guess that's, so I had already seen some of it, of the projects that you had been involved in, but that was the last one I saw that really moved me. And yeah, I mean, in general, I think gender is something that I've been thinking about in relation to, so I guess that I approach these subjects through fiction from like I use myths and fiction to talk about these complex subjects of related to identity. And in general, I'm very happy to be part of like a group of creatives that are thinking and concerned about similar things. But I know that I'm in a very noisy space. So just thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, I guess it's really relevant to open these conversations today. And that's it from me. So
Thank you very much, Paola, for the kind words. Thank you for being here, the social. I'm so glad you enjoyed the transformation live streaming, which I guess is the one you're talking about, which is the one we did with National Gallery. Which it was a very important event for us. But it was all about focus. Really like sharing the focus of our organization of media arts for social change. Because that's why we do what we do, because we really believe on that. So we got Nera and Alien, but if you don't put the camera, I'm gonna assume you're not ready to talk, and I think we are gonna move on to the discussion part. Oh, there you go, we got Alien. We got a Pikachu Alien.
I think, Uli, you're in New York.
Uli.
Oh, you're
muted. Sorry, I haven't realized I'm muted. Nice to see you all.
Oh, so good to see you too. It's been some time.
Yeah, I know. We need to catch up soon somewhere.
Overdue. Where are you? Where in the world are you?
I'm in London now.
In London?
In my alien house, which is yellow. Yeah, it's very.
Do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, I'm an artist. I work with performance, interactive installation, and like kind of outside installation, more like structures or pavilions. So I think I tend to mix, like my practice is quite transdisciplinary, so I tend to mix lots of various things, from fine art, interactive art, new media art, and architecture. So, and I think the alien AI is my, I don't know, alter ego becoming or something, because sometimes I actually exhibit as alien AI, sometimes I exhibit as Uli. So it varies, but we're kind of merging together with the alien.
wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know what else should I say.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries. Whatever you feel. That's great. Thanks for being here, and yeah, thanks for the introduction. So then I think we are gonna move to the discussion part, and then we finish the event with the introduction of the online exhibition. If that sounds okay?
Sure,
Yeah.
that's good.
So I like to start with the first question for our curators. What does gender fuck means? Why that title?
Maybe I should start this one because I think we probably have different opinions on this. So for me, I really like the title because for me, the idea of binary is so enshrined in our kind of archetypical conception of what gender is, and I think we just need to fuck with that a little bit because gender isn't just about binaries and goes beyond that. And I think the title gender fuck really encapsulates that idea that we're going beyond these binaries. And having an event at the National Gallery, which is where this title originated, I felt I wanted to also fuck with that system a little bit, and with the National Gallery in particular has this incredible lack of also women in their collection. You know, out of the 2,000 and something paintings there's 32, I think, by women. There's virtually no representation. It's a historic collection of trans artists or of queer artists. And obviously it's a historic collection, but we have this deficit. And I just felt, yeah, there's an opportunity to just make that evident and be a bit radical and embed that into the title a little bit. Yeah, that's, I guess, where it came from.
Would you like to add anything to it? Like how was your interpretation of it?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's quite complex, and obviously you've got a few more questions that kind of might cover the other aspects that are kind of also very close to my heart. You know, so what, you know, gender fuck, it's gender construction. I think, as an artist, we've got like liberties to kind of identify and, create identities as we wish, when it comes to gender, it's a bit of a spectrum, and obviously it's very kind of like, it's very topical at the moment. So, so I thought it was kind of interesting to kind of like, quite fascinating to kind of create a forum where we can kind of look into, the kind of community aspect as well. And, is there a community within the LGBTQ? Because it's it's quite interesting how things have developed in the last 10, 15 years as well. With kind of the mainstreams like focusing on trans rights now. How does that, how do kind of gay people, gay men kind of like come into the equation? How can they kind of support that, or how are they maybe an obstacle as well? So I thought it would be really good to kind of kind of create a platform to look at it from different angles and and kind of shine a light on that a little bit. And
wonderful.
Yeah, I think illuminated a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you. So the next question, and this now I'd like to open it to the group. Although maybe I'll start with Dean for this one, if that's okay. What do you think about labels? What do you think about gender labels? Do you think they are helpful? Do you think, what do they achieve? Can they also be restrictive, really? I'd love to start with Dean, but then everyone else, and maybe yourself want to add.
My connection was really jumpy when you said, so I think your question was, what do you think of gender label? Are they helpful, or are they...
what do they achieve? I say, what do you think the labels achieve? But can they also be restrictive
Okay. It's not a simple question that you ask me, Maria. I think basically a bit of both. I think it's very important that we have labels in terms of activism and visibility. I think it's important to reinvent languages and reinvent inventing new pronouns. For example, in French, the non-binary pronoun doesn't exist, and we have invented it. And by using it, we actually operating a historical revolution, and it's now printed in books, and it's now, you know, part of a new typography in graphic design, and all of this is making history. Of course, I hope that in the future, maybe we would not need those labels, and we will have passed the kind of identification that is needed in terms of, you know, sometimes gender, sometimes sexuality. So, you know, maybe in the future, the sort of those labels, as we say, won't be needed, and I don't think they are needed in terms of differentiation, but they are needed for now in terms of existing officially and loud and proud kind of thing. That's what I think.
Yeah, so right, totally agree. Thank you, Dean. Would you like to add, or anyone in the chat would like to add to this question?
Yeah, I think it would become maybe interesting to kind of look at it from you know, kind of labels within the times of, you know, social media. So I guess algorithms kind of play a big role in that. So I remember a time when subcultures kind of existed, you know, without social media. But now, so now through social media, it's yeah, it becomes a way to kind of connect as well. So yeah, I think yeah, there is no kind of right or wrong answer there. It's not good and it's not bad. It's you know, it has both aspects, I think. You know, I guess it can get very restrictive, particularly, you know, if there are labels, you know, like the kind of traditional labels that you don't kind of feel that you're fitting into. So I think it's very fascinating to kind of hear what kind of Dean is saying, that, you know, through the activism work, you know, there are kind of like new kind of there's a new language that's being developed that is becoming more inclusive and creating visibility as well for that kind of diversity, and I think that's very exciting. So I think that there is validity in that as well, whereas I kind of sometimes find it's kind of restrictive as well, because there are lots of people, you know, who are just kind of part of the spectrum, and they're just kind of moving from one identity to and grow into something else. So, and obviously there's freedom to kind of like relabel yourself, but why using labels?
Yeah,
I sometimes find some people do find it find me somewhat restrictive when I say I'm kind of on the non-binary spectrum, especially also in the academic context, I should say. Although there is a lot of openness, I find there's also a confusion that kind of elicits as a response, and it's and it's actually almost something where, you know, you want a wake-up call, and I think that confusion is maybe that's needed, because people do need to you know, learn about their own discomfort with it. It's not mine, it's kind of their problem. So yeah, and
I would like to add also that it's interesting, like with the depending of the languages, right, that you were talking about in French, like how, like, you know, it didn't exist, so you had to like create a new word. In English we've got they, right, like to talk about non-binary people, and Spanish is such a genderized language also, which is it's interesting. In one point I was wondering how people are gonna go about that, because it's so genderized, like the O always represent male and the A always represents feminine, you know, and it's like almost like many words end like that just to genderize them. But obviously there is always a way to go around, and the kind of the queer groups, they start to use E. So that's kind of they change everything for like E, which is I mean, it sounds strange, obviously, because we've never used it, but I love to see how we can really make everything our own, and language. I really agree with Dean was saying. At the moment, I think we need it, because we need to like you know, to really mark the existence of you know of these people and us, and we need that. And maybe once it's so embedded in society, maybe we can move from those labels, you know, and just because it will be so accepted. But Graham, yeah, please.
When we did our last EVA conference in July 22, Olive was there, and we did an evening about the metaverse, and it seems very obvious that the metaverse is going to play a major role in all our lives in the near future, whether we like it or not. A huge concern of mine is that the people running the metaverse, the Metas and the Googles and so on, are not necessarily going to be people who will have any sympathy and any way of wanting to help and assist and accept everything that we're talking about. And I think it's exceptionally important that academics and researchers around the world and artists and so on actually endeavour as a group rather than as individuals all over the world to actually voice opinions to the public about how the metaverse should be run and how liberated it should be, because I think that is one of the massive dangers for everything that we've achieved so far in the way of inclusivity and diversity, that it can actually all get blown away in the next 5 years by the Metas and the Googles who have a American agenda, let me say, actually choosing to gently close everything down.
So right, Graham, yeah, thanks for making this point. And it makes me also related to what Laura, I think, said about creating avatars that also represent these different identities, right? Because again, it's just really normative and obviously new mediums. We researchers and and creatives need to make sure that we design spaces with that perspective on mind. But yeah, the creators of this platform, they are not going to do it. They are not like us, and they're not interested in supporting, because I guess we are such a small, still comparing to the larger group of people. We are a minority, right? And that's to take into account.
But also very influential minority, obviously, as artists and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Tap into something that they can potentially kind of blow up as well.
Yeah.
So by kind of making things kind of visible. So obviously, new technology can be a part of it by kind of like sharing these ideas, or kind of using the medium to express these ideas by itself as well.
Let's remember our power for sure.
There's a danger, if I may just say, there's a danger that all these large corporates will actually just want to have their sponsors have a say in what happens. We're actually seeing this in the World Cup at the moment, very much so. And if you have sponsors who are concerned with American values, let me say, for the broad generic term, then we will have real problems in 5 years' time with everything that we want to try and achieve and everything that we've achieved so far. If the metaverse actually is what it is. And I think it's terribly important that we, as a group of artists, actually start to fight this. But with no good us fighting it as individuals dotted all over the world, we actually need to find some media or some way of gathering together in groups to actually change public opinion that the metaverse is all about making a prettier face than you really have, or whatever.
Yeah. Elian, please.
Yeah, thanks. So basically what I wanted to say that we recently had a conversation with like my body part. Basically, when I left Alienation Land to come on Earth, I forgotten my body part, because on Alienation Land, we all shape of a gas. And recently, so we continued developing the piece, right? And we've been talking about like gender and transitioning and all those topics that like we usually discuss in a closed group. And actually what they're suggesting that it could be much more interesting to bring this discussion to people who are not necessarily part of those groups and kind of make them. So we've been trying to find some kind of ways or means, and like mainly we've been thinking like a lot of just like VR and virtual worlds to kind of drag people there and kind of provoke the conversation from people who are not necessarily related, and just make them kind of become kind of feel part of those conversations, part of the issues that for like all of us are kind of everyday matters, and some people are far away. And so we've been thinking how to actually bring them in and make them actually welcome and kind of make this discourse part of their life. So yeah, and I kind of found this quite interesting. If it's
yeah, I love that point. I really think technology can play a role in that. We've been exhibiting the work of Danielle Brathwaite-Chardy quite a bit. I was working not really with the metaverse, but with kind of actually gamified experiences of gender. And I think it's so powerful in terms of communicating some of the issues of persistent discrimination. And yeah, I really think technology can be an enabler in this context. Yeah.
Yeah, because I also was thinking like the part what like Elian does, it's like they're transitioning all the time, and they use it like more metaphorically, transitioning from gas and from kind of other substances. So it's kind of constant state of transitioning to kind of make people immersed into the state of kind of transition and start talking about things and kind of express themselves maybe when they interact with like technology during performances.
Thank you. Yeah, really interesting point. So the next question I've got is, what role can art play in representing diverse gender identities? Yeah, anyone would like to share? Maybe Wes. I thought your work. Yeah.
You guys are really asking very interesting questions. I had a whole formulated thesis on the last one forming in my mind, and then we're moving on. But it was not going to be long-winded. Yeah, I'm exploring right now. I'm very interested in avatar building, but I don't even know if you want to call it avatar because it's becoming so advanced. In my piece that you guys selected for the Barbican show and for this one, Anti-Communion, I actually had my body scanned and I like recreated myself in 3D. So it's my own physical proportion. It's like a digital twin. And I've been very interested in the idea of doppelgangers as well. And at one point in my film, like the figures rotate around, so I'm facing myself. So like if we were going to represent, we could obviously like put more varied genders, more identities represented with bodies. I'm very interested in the physicality of the digital, like, and what it does to how you relate to your own body, and the idea of dissociation through existing in this other place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. I got a sense of that when I saw your video piece. You'll have a good answer for this one. Anyone else would like to answer? So what role can art play in representing diverse gender identities?
Yeah, I think it's always the role that art and artists play in those questions is such an interesting and nuanced sort of role, because it's embodied within so many different sort of voices and ways of kind of talking about complex discourse, which are often really polarized when they are sort of represented in the media or in just even like the discussion. And when actually you see the work of Wes or the artist Aliens or anyone's and yours as well, actually, you really get something else that sometimes is nearly a bit harder to express with a discourse, a formulated discourse. And I think those are really important times for artists to sort of mediate maybe those questions. And I think as Graham was really well saying as well, it's the entire sort of creative industry maybe or creative network role to sort of get together and maybe explore those questions and kind of organize online and physical events for people to exchange and continue kind of sharing those discussion about identities. I think and there's so many amazing example, I think, from artists, or as you were saying, also gamers that are kind of really finding there's one of my friends really also discovered that they were non-binary because they kept playing The Sims during lockdown. So, you know, that's just like a small example that is not even that artistic, but that is really how this kind of new media, different I guess like uses of our lives it can lead to.
Dean, I was wondering on that point, might it be possible for you to share some images from Disturbance with us? Because I think Disturbance, there's also so many fantastic artists who are expressing gender and their identities in lots of different ways, including performance.
Yes, I can share some now if you want.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and just to point out that we've got Laura that has been sharing some YouTube link of some of the avatars. Yes, they done. So thank you for sharing. We are a bit far from the chat, so that's why we are not. So we see it, but we are not writing because sorry, it's a bit out of reach. But we will explore it, and thank you. And likewise, if anyone else feels like they're gonna share any link of their work or any relevant piece of work, writing, like please feel free to like populate the chat, and then we will save it and we'll send it to everyone, right?
I think for me to share, I need to be able to. I think you need to
make host.
Allow me to share. I've just. Thank you. I've just also shared the Disturbance website. You can discover in your own time. And so this was the Disturbance of this year. Joy was a non-binary trans artist. And basically the concept this year of Disturbance was that we wanted to also, I guess, call out the or maybe not necessarily call out, but maybe talk about this tension with contemporary art world where we all have something to say about it and we all criticize it, but we also want to be part of it. But then when we're part of it, we sort of don't feel really comfortable. So we sort of recreated a very eerie ruins of the contemporary art world. So it was we completely put this white space with those sculptures and this sort of also kind of like Venice Biennale of ruins of that, and Joy performing in the middle, really with a very also intersectional discourse of obviously talking about their perspective as a Black person as well as a non-binary trans person. And yeah, I think what's interesting this year is that we have explored, this is River also, another artist, basically Disturbance, we're doing this live performance as well as on the live stream using a lot of kind of cutting edge kind of technology, lots of different cameras and projectors. So and inviting people to really immerse themselves within the sort of performance space. It's quite a big production for a space like Ugly Duck, which sometimes is also very DIY. And here we have River Chow, who was exploring the morning ritual of Southern China through this kind of queer embodiment of kind of a non-binary character as well. So we created this like pool within Ugly Duck, and that's with the projector, and you see a bit of the water. That's in the space, and that was Gisu Golchani, who's an Iranian person who was talking about birds, or using, I guess, the figure of a bird to sort of talk about the management of water in the Islamic regime in Iran. So it was kind of really, really a very deep and emotional moment because of course, everything is what's going on in the revolution in Iran, and a lot of their friends involved and themselves involved in that. And I think, again, so we're talking about identity, but also, again, using art to talk about those sort of political and during those political moments, and actually, you know, talking about this bird that is talking about the water, which also remind the environment. This is, you know, so nuanced, and it was so beautiful, and but actually also very, very poignant and very, very strong. And I think, yes, this is Buchan and River who also are performing for Maria. So that was, I think, the day after your performance.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so Gisri is also a sound artist. So she placed some contact microphone onto those pipe, and she was sort of dragging them, and the sound was really resonating in the space. And so to answer your question, Maria, again, it's really using this kind of, it was really quiet, quite slow, but so poignant, and those movements and those I guess like moments really were worth kind of 1,000 of hours of conference about, you know, what are those tensions within like identities and intersectional, I guess, identities. So yeah, we'll release a lot of more pictures, so I'm just going to stop here and let you continue but thank you for letting me share this.
Thank you so much, Diana. Yeah, it's really iconic and groundbreaking what you're doing, and giving a space to to artists also to explore media, that, you know, the way that you are you know, combining the physical and the live stream, and giving opportunity to those artists to expand also on the work that they are doing, and yeah, always really well curated, so congratulations. So next question, and I think this is a bit more, I give opportunity for people to talk more about your own art practice, because basically the question is, what strategies do you pursue to express gender in your own artistic practice? Yeah, that's maybe either of you can start. Yeah,
to start. So I mean, there's two pieces. So actually, this is a nice segue into the online exhibition which we're launching tonight. One of the focuses of some of my art practice has long been identity and masculinity specifically, and kind of the difficulties around this idea of masculinity as also an idea of functionality and a body cult that I find slightly problematic. And so there's a series of work that I've been producing for the last 3-4 years, which is around that, which is around this idea of androids. I mean, andros literally means band, right? And so androids and the cyborg and this functionality is, I think that there's a link there that is maybe that for me is quite relevant, because I think to be male doesn't always mean to be functional, and there's this expectation there. So so I'm quite interested in this, and also the stereotypes around masculinity. And then I've just produced a new work which is about representation of well, actually it's about cross-dressing and misrepresentation of cross-dressing. And that's a film that is also a VR film where you can relive a film that was produced in the 1980s by Brian De Palma through 2 points of view. This is a film that I wanted to show at Ugly Duck, but I'm really excited to do this at some point in the future when we can put on this exhibition. I do think technology is really a medium to make you, as Uli outlined before, make you feel something that maybe words can't really communicate. Gonna hand over.
So yes, my kind of approach to gender is very much through kind of sexuality, and I don't know if it's necessarily kind of like kind of immediately connected. So I've had a conversation with my partner about, how it's connected, if it's connected at all. I think for me it is. So so I started to kind of like explore the ideas of like, embodiment with kind of compulsive sexual behavior, and kind of like showing a limelight into that. So I've done a project, a drawing series of kind of like what would be your kind of spiritual animal in kind of gay public cruising, for example. But I started kind of exploring also ideas of my personal kind of embodiment practice of like Tantra. So I'm kind of exploring ideas visually, within this kind of context, which kind of like translates back to kind of gender as well. The idea of embodiment, how do you embody yourself? What has been kind of earlier said by someone, where does it actually sit in the body? The identification. Yeah, I hope that kind of makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, definitely. So the question is, what strategies do you pursue to express gender in your non-artistic practice? I'm going to briefly also answer myself. And I think for me, it's been all about body morphosis, character design. I was reflecting about this for first time, because I think although the focus of my art practice hasn't been quite direct about gender, it has always been really embedded on it, like really from the because I guess is the art that I create. But I one of the things that I've been doing the most is really like playing with character design and with body morphosis. And like I remember one of the first performances I did in festivals, I had like these, I love to have these big like hairy chest that I loved it, and it was like this monster. I've always really used like cross gender, like on all the characters I created. I'm realizing, and I think this been my way actually of representing on the live performance. The body morphosis through character design. Who else would like to answer this question? And I also want to say hi to Milo, the late arrival.
Hello.
Hi. Are you a practitioner yourself? Would you like to answer this question?
Far from it. I'm Peter's partner.
Oh, I see.
I was on the Instagram one, but now I've been able to log in through Zoom, so I'm able to participate a bit more. I'm a forensic investigator, so I'm vastly removed.
Okay, no worries, no pressure.
That's so cool, no?
I think the question is, I was discussing it with Peter before, and obviously gender and sexuality are, I think there's a popular narrative, which is that there is a crossing in terms of how you feel yourself sexually, which is more of the gender part, and then there's sexuality, which is more the practice and what that represents. So of course, from my perspective, I think there is a crossover in terms of how you feel internally to how you might practice sexual acts and how that manifests in your sexuality. But on the flip side, they are different entities depending how binary you are. So if you are, overtly identifying as cis male or cis female, and you are, straight or gay, then you will have a clearly defined set of experiences, most likely. And therefore, the sexuality is quite clearly decoupled from the gendering, because it's basically they are standing as separate constructs of their own. But when you do have this in-between space, whether you define it as non-binary, whether you define it as queer or what have you, then of course they can become a lot more intermeshed. And so I think that's where probably there is a bigger crossover. So I think, obviously within the trans community, and there's the lived experience will be very different from a gender and sexuality perspective, but where the binaries exist, then obviously that will differ.
Thank you. Really interesting reflection, Milo. Michael, yeah, we'd love to hear from you. You know how to unmute yourself, Michael?
Yeah. I just wanted to say something about environment as well. So I think like your gender, how you feel about it on an individual level can it can change like where you are, I suppose. So to give you an example, like when I lived in Glasgow in the West End, which was a very sort of open place and a lot more inclusive place, I felt a lot more non-binary, and I felt a lot more artistic. I felt more artistically inclined because I was surrounded by so many artists, and so many of my friends were also, well, artists, that it just sort of became natural for me to also, when I go home to Stirling, which is quite a conservative part of Scotland and it's quite a working class area, I do feel a lot more masculine and a lot more status quo, if you like. And I think when I go home, like factors like the way I talk change, the way I dress certainly changes, and sort of the way that I present myself changes too, because I think that you sort of comply with your environment a little bit, if that makes sense, when it comes to your gender and identity. But yeah, that's just what I've picked up.
Thank you, Michael. Great reflection. Yeah.
Michael, I wonder if, I mean, would you say it has something to do with the sense of safety as well, that you, has that something to do with that? Maybe that you're, I mean, would you feel safe enough to be kind of more non-binary when you're in Stirling?
Well, I suppose safety does have a part to play, but if I'm honest, it doesn't. I don't really think about it, if that makes sense. It just sort of comes to me, okay, you're not in that environment anymore. You have to sort of not comply, but I think naturally you just start behaving differently, I suppose. Maybe it is out of fear. I don't know. Maybe you might think that, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for opening up and sharing. Anyone else? We are gonna wrap up, I think, the discussion, but I love, yeah, Dean, there you go.
Sorry, I just need to say that I need to run off, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing your work, everyone. I've clicked on all of the links, so I'm gonna look at this. And yeah, thank you, Michael, for sharing and stuff, and thank you, Flux, for organizing. So hope to see everyone in the next physical, social, or at the thing.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Dean. It's always a pleasure to have you.